Hey everyone, my name is Kaikun6 and I'm here to do another episode of Playlist Stories. I did try to re-record this video before, but then I ended up getting a call from my friend that's in the hospital. And so all I know is today is going to be the last day I'm going to car sit for her. Good news is I am going to deliver her car to her neighbor that is right across the street from where she lives at. And so I'm going to be doing that hopefully in the evening once Blake comes home from work. So hopefully, because like I've just been struggling basically mentally kind of just to see how to deal with it, because like once in a while I would have like some really suspicious people come into my neighborhood, and luckily nothing ever happens, but still I'm like, I don't know if they're like targeting certain houses or something. And even though it is a small city and stuff, but still I have like neighbors that are very protective, and if they say anything, they say something, you know, or they see something, they say something, you know. But you know, this is a car that's new to the neighborhood. Nobody has seen it yet except like the neighbors that live right next door to me, like basically right to the left and then the left of me. And so I felt like, okay, this is starting to get a little bit dangerous, this and that, especially with what happened with her window and stuff like that. And so I felt like, okay, that's perfectly fine. I could just tell her neighbor about the situation with her window, because I haven't told my friend yet. Like, I was about to tell her during the phone call that I just had before I started recording this video, but like her doctor literally just came in and said, we need to give you your medicine now. And so she basically hung up on me, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll give her I'll tell the details to the neighbor, and then I'll tell my friend what happened. So yeah, so like what happened was my friend, I was actually like on my way coming back from the hospital to come see her, drop off some mail, this and that. And then while I was delivering mail, I don't know if I pressed the button or something, I don't know what happened, but I was trying to open the car door so that way, because I didn't want to risk like rolling down her windows just in case. And I was trying to like deliver a letter for her for the electric company so she can pay off her electric. I do not know what happened. All I remember was I opened the door, I heard a clunk, and the window fell. And I was just like, how am I supposed to explain this to a friend? Like, this type of things never ever happen. And I felt like, okay, maybe it was karma, or I don't know what's going on, honestly. And so I felt like, okay, well then let me go explain this to her. I haven't had a chance to, because whenever I tried to send her a message, she never got it. Or when I tried to call her about it, she never wanted to pick up immediately. So I was like, okay, and I had to go occupy myself something else during the day. And today was one of those days, because she called me out of nowhere. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to tell her and her neighbor. So once I do deliver the car today, because she says that she's gonna get somebody else to come and pick her up from the hospital, which is great, because apparently she might leave tomorrow. I don't know. All I know is I'm just happy to go to upload videos again on Wednesdays. Honestly, it felt so weird uploading on Thursdays, like almost 3 weeks in a row, you know. So yeah, so anyway, let's continue with this episode. So the title of this video, which is Ain't No Sunshine by Bill Withers. This song, of course, has been like around so many years. I remember my dad and I would listen to the song often on the radio whenever we're hanging out, which that's going to be a memory I'm going to be talking about in a bit. And so yeah, we will always like listen to the song. And I remembered playing I guess one of the video games that before we got the PS4 or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, well, actually, maybe we did have the PS4 at the time. I'm not sure. But all I remember was Mafia 3 came out. And of course, you know how like they play some really good classics on there, especially when you're in the car in the game, and then the radio plays and it's just really good songs and stuff. So I just remembered one day, like, I bonded over this song with my dad a lot, and it's just like this really interesting memory that showed up. And it was only like a conversation from a friend of mine with Ace was a catalyst to this memory. And so I remember I talked about it with her, and she's like, you got to talk about this memory in your channel. And I was like, you know what, I should. And so I decided, you know what, let me go talk about it, because I have been like patiently waiting to see if like I can do something else other than just shopping hauls or playlist story episodes. And so I felt like I need to start doing more crafting. I need to do more ceramics, but it's just been really warm lately. Like right now I'm kind of sweating and stuff, but I'll be fine. So yeah, so let me continue on with this memory basically. So it was like a normal random day, of course. I think I was doing chores at the time. I think I was doing I want to say laundry, because I remember my mom came home really weird, like at a weird random time. It was like between 12 o'clock to 1 p.m. And she was like starting laundry, and I was just like, does something happen? You know, like, is she okay? Because she never starts laundry in the middle of the day unless she had to go to church or something. I don't remember. But all I know is that I think she went to go shopping for a little bit for dinner, and I guess she forgot something, and then something came up because I heard her like on the phone, right? And she was just like, you know, what happened? You know, like, hey, mom, are you okay? And she's like, I have to go. Like, can you do laundry for me? All you have to do is just put the clothes in the washing machine, and I'll do the rest when I come back. And I was just like, okay, sure. She left in a hurry, and I was just like, okay, I guess I'm home alone, because I know my sister was working at the time, and so was my brother. And so I usually was at work, but then it was like during those transition periods where we ended up having from 2 cars to 1 car, and then something happens with a job of mine, and so Blake has to like take over on working, and then he was taking my car at the time. So basically I was just at home keeping my mom occupied, and whenever she needed me for doctor's appointments, I went with her, right? So today was just like not one of those days. It was just like I just stayed home. I was recuperating from a hangout that I had from a friend's house, and I just don't remember which one. I just know it was like a new person in my life at the time, and so I was just like tired out, and I was like, you know what, I need to come and rest. And so I ended up doing the laundry for my mom, and starting the load and everything, putting in the soap and everything that she wants me to do. And then I heard a clunk, and I was like, who is that? Like, you know, like, I know I wasn't home alone, right? And so as soon as I heard the door open, I was like, okay, I know it's my dad, because if you lived with people long enough, you kind of know their habits of like how to unlock a door, lock a door, their footsteps, how they come inside the house. I had that knowledge for a while, and so I heard the most familiar footsteps ever, and I was like, yeah, that's my dad. And then my dad saw me, and he was just like, oh, I thought nobody was home. So I saw all the cars were gone, and I just said, yeah, my mom just left and all that. Like, she had to go get something from the store or whatever. I don't know. She left in a hurry. And he's like, are you doing anything right now? I just said, I'm just going to do is just throw some laundry in there, and then my mom will do the rest. And she's like, okay, well, is there anything else you're going to be doing after this? And I said, no, not really. I was just going to start playing Mafia 3 and listen to some music. And he immediately like smiled, because he was just like, I love that game, and I love the music that's in there. He's like, do you think you can like help me with something? And I said, yeah, sure. What do you want me to do? And he's like, we're going to go to the junkyard. We got to go find something for a car part for basically a friend of ours. And I was like, a friend of ours? What are you talking about? And so that's weird. My hair got distracted me. That's really weird. I don't know what's going on. My hair's a mess, you guys, so ignore me if I'm playing with it or just fixing it. So so he's like, yeah, there was this car part I needed, and apparently like O'Reilly's and AutoZone had it very crazy expensive, and all I needed was just like this one part. And I thought maybe I could get it at a junkyard for cheaper than that, and maybe it'll probably last them a while. And I said, sure. Yeah, I didn't even know what car part it was. Like, he could just tell me it's like a random name of it, and I wouldn't even know where it belonged to. So I told him, yeah, sure, let's go. And so he's like, good, because after this we're gonna go get a hot dog and a drink. And I said, let's go to 7-Eleven. And so so usually whenever I hang out with my dad, usually we'll go to 7-Eleven to go get, you know, like the spicy bite and a drink. And it's mainly a big gulp full of Coke. And sometimes I do switch between Coke and something else. But that day I was like, you know what? I haven't had a Coke yet, so let me go see if I can get one today. And so we ended up going to the junkyard. I don't remember which one this one was, but I know it was the one in Ontario. It was like not even like a few miles away from the house. It was just like almost around the block, right? And so we ended up going inside. We got into the parking lot. We got inside. We paid for the entrance fee and all that, and the guy had to make sure we had like closed shoes. And luckily I remember, because I've been so used to like wearing sandals during that time, so wearing shoes for me was kind of really weird. And so I felt like, you know what, let me just put on my shoes with the socks and that'll be fine. And so the guy checked and he's like, okay, you're good to go. And so we went inside, and I was trying to help him look for a car. We had to go further in. I don't know how far. It was like maybe a good 100 feet away from like the entrance. And so we finally found the car. I said, hey Dad, I found it, and it's like the exact same color and model. And he's just like, perfect. And so he ended up like opening up the trunk, no, not the trunk, the hood of the car, and he found the car part that he needed. And it was like a very small piece. It was like this yay big, something like that. I don't know. Oh my goodness, my hair is a mess, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like fix it. I don't know. It is disaster. When I'm already like warm and sweaty and stuff, it's just, my hair just likes to be all over the place. So yeah, anyway, so he finally got the car part. He ended up going to check out, and he was just like, hey, you know, like, oh, we're running a deal right now. Like, if you get another car part, you'll get it for free and this and that. And so my dad was just like, really? Okay. And so my dad was like, you know what? Let's go find another car that looks like this, or at least the same make and model, different color, and then we'll just go find it. And I said, yeah, sure. And so I finally found another car, but I think he found another one before me, because by the time I went to go tell him, he's like, we're gonna go now. And I was just like, you found another one? He's like, yeah, like I found it, and I think this one's a little bit of better condition, so we will see. And so he got it, and then he ended up getting the deal where it was the same car part for free. One of them was free, one of them he paid like $3 or $4 for it, which was like not that bad, right? And so he ended up going to the car, and I followed him, and we're like, yeah, let's go to 7-Eleven now. We're gonna go get our hot dog and a pizza. So yeah, a drink. And so he ended up going back home, like closest to the closest 7-Eleven to the house, which was like another few miles away from there. And so we ended up going in there. We parked the car. We went inside. Cashier immediately recognized my dad, so he already was like had his order rung up on him, like, because in that certain location of 7-Eleven, those cashiers know my dad, since he goes there often just to go get a drink or get a hot dog and a drink and all that. And he does come back for the free refills and all that stuff. So yeah. So, but he immediately looked at me. He doesn't even know me. He's like, this is gonna be the first time I met somebody that's with this guy. And so, and my first thought was like, he better not think like I'm dating this dude, you know, or whatnot. No, like, he's my dad, right? And so he was just like, hey, let's go grab a hot dog. I was like, what do you want? I said, same as you, give me the spicy bite. He's like, got it. He ended up throwing them glizzies on the buns and this and that. And then he's like, okay, what do you want to drink? And I said, I want a Coke. I haven't had a Coke yet this week. And he's like, go for it. Let's go get a big gulp and fill it up with Coke and ice. We did that. And then we ended up going to the cashier, and the cashier immediately like drew his attention to me. Like, he was just like, who are you, basically? And he did ask that question, which was, I have never had a cashier like that come up to me in a very long time during that time to ask me who I am. And my dad immediately answered, this is my daughter. It's like, really? This is your daughter? And I said, yeah, my name is Jennifer. It's like, oh, yeah, I remember your dad talking about you. And I was like, yeah, well, that's me. He's like, well, it's glad to see a face with a name for it. And I said, thank you. And then so I couldn't remember that gentleman's name, to be honest, because he speak really low and I couldn't hear him. So he could have been an Amir, an Ahmad, I don't know. I couldn't tell. And yeah, he was like from the Middle East for sure. I just couldn't remember, but I know it started with an A, because the way that he pronounced how he pronounced the A name like that, like, I just know it was like an Ahmad or an Amir. So I just did not know which name it was. And so I said, nice to meet you. And immediately his attention went to like the door, because he saw somebody coming in. And I can tell you guys, oh my goodness, I just knew this was a catalyst to what my dad was about to get himself into, you guys. Okay, if you guys don't know my dad in real life, okay, the ones that do know him, especially other than just my family, okay, because like I've had friends come over to my mom's house all the time, and they have met my dad, and they have heard stories of my dad. So he just loves to kind of judge people, like not in a bad way, but in a jokingly kind of way, just to like get some kicks, this and that. He's always been like that, but he don't mean by it. Of course, he don't mean by the jokes. He just says it just to like, you know, shoot the shit or whatever, you know. And sometimes just to makes us laugh, because he's always been that type of person that whenever all of us are in a bad mood or just experience something bad, he was always there to cheer us up. And then of course he kind of failed, but then in reality he was a lot more successful, basically. And so after that, after the cashier got the attention or whatever, my dad immediately drew his eyes to a woman that was wearing like really revealing clothing. She had this huge bun up her hair. Like it looked like she had like these long dreads, and all she did was wrap them around in like a circle until she made like a bun, and it was like pretty huge, you know. And I felt like, oh wow, that's like a lot of hair, you know, like, and it was pretty impressive, because even with long hair, like right now for me this is still long. Like I wish I could cut it right now, but like I'm trying to see if I could get it to heal a little bit, because I have been having issues with like dead ends and split ends and stuff like that. And so I'm trying out this new hair care routine. Hopefully it will help me. But for the meantime, I'm gonna see what I can do for the meantime, because my hair has been getting like a lot more frizzier than usual and this and that. So anyway, I have like I was just very impressed with her hair, right? And I was just like, wow, that's a lot of hair. And immediately I saw the glint in my dad's eyes. I knew he was gonna say something that, oh my goodness, I knew he was gonna judge her. And I know it's she might take it the wrong way, as she actually heard. And unlucky she did hurt, and let's just say that did not go so well. So what happened was my dad immediately started throwing the insults immediately in Spanish, so that way the lady will not understand my dad, but she understood very, very well. The only one that I could remember that was the most insult one, I should say, it's like the most nicest one out of the insults that came from my dad's mouth, was her hair looks like a very messed up bird's nest. I was like, I am not getting myself into this conversation. My dad and this cashier were kind of like best friends, right? They were just like laughing at each other. They were throwing more insults, like to make each other laugh more. And I was like, you know what, I think I need to go to the car. And so luckily the door was unlocked, because he knew that we were just gonna go in there, get our food and our drinks, and then we're gonna go back to the car and then head back home, right? Okay, so let's just say like that did not happen. Not at least not that anytime soon. So yeah, the lady understood Spanish, immediately confronted my dad, and I was just like, oh, okay, now it's time for me to leave. And so I left. I went to the car. I went to go text my friends, seeing like what's been going on, you know, like are they going to be hanging out today, which some of them did. They hung out at a park. Some of them, they said they're going to be waiting till tomorrow to hang out. And I was just like, cool, because I said like I'm taking a break from today. I had to do chores, and not only that, I'm with my dad, so yeah. And so I was just waiting for like this lady to stop basically berating my dad or something, because you can tell she was like yelling at his face. And my dad was trying to like diffuse the situation, saying like it's all meant well, I don't really mean it, and this and that. And I felt like, okay, well, nowadays people are connected to gangs, and I felt like maybe, you know, maybe this lady was connected to a gang. Luckily she wasn't. She was just somebody that came out of her house, just needed to go get something to drink and then just go head back home. Like she did not expect for you know, a 60-year-old man at the time, a 60-year-old man, to get made fun of, basically, or have him make fun of her. And so I don't know how old this lady was. She could be in her 30s or 40s, I don't know. All I know is that she was not very friendly towards my dad, of course, and the cashier was like threatening her to get out, because if it got really violent, she was gonna call the cops on her. And she was like, for what? Like, I'm just trying to confront this guy telling me like I look like this and this and that. And it's like, yeah, but it's all for fun. We really don't mean it, you know. Like, even I make fun of myself sometimes and this and that. And she just did not understand that. I guess she was just having a really bad day. And so the cashier was just like, okay, like, lady, I'm gonna need you to leave. Like, I want you to pay and then you can leave. And lady's like, I'm not gonna be paying until this man apologizes to me, blah blah blah. And so my dad was just like, all right, fine, I'm sorry, that's it. Like, that's all he said. He grabbed his stuff, paid, and just left. Like, that was the end of that. Like, this lady was just stunned. He's like, are you kidding me? He actually did apologize to me. And so the cashier just like said bye, hopefully we see you again, and then was like, okay lady, are you ready to check out? She was just like, yeah, I just didn't expect this guy to apologize to me. I could not stop laughing at her face because I honestly thought my dad said something to her really insulting that it just left her speechless. But no, my dad just said, I just apologized to her. Not many people expect that, right? Especially for somebody that looks like me or that that's like my age. And I was just like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. And so she ended up paying. She ended up going to her car. And what my dad did was he did a smart move. He stayed in the parking lot until she left, because if so, maybe we would have been followed all the way back home. And if that were to happen, yeah, he would have been driving in circles until this lady gave up. And so, or if not, he was going to take her to the freeway and then get lost from there, because that was my dad's tactic whenever it came to stuff like that. But it's kind of like he had like all these scenarios played in his head anyway, so he knew how to handle the situation well. And the last thing that he ever wanted to do was just call the cops, you know. And so he ended up just waiting for her to leave, and she just looked at him and me and just drove off. And we were like, okay, well then, Dad, do you think it's safe to leave now to go home? Because Mom called me and she was wondering where I was at, and I told her what happened. And so my mom was kind of like, okay, well, like, did she was just wondering just questions about what happened and this and that. And so my dad kind of looked curious. He was just like, your mom is home now? It's like, yeah, I told you she was only gonna be gone for a few minutes. She's like, you're right. Yeah, I forgot. I was just so distracted with that lady and her bird nest hair. I was like, don't even fucking start, you know. And my dad could not stop laughing all the way home. Luckily, he was checking to see if anybody was following us, so he went the long way home just in case this lady was trying to follow us. And luckily, no, that did not happen. All I know is my dad never got to see her again because he never mentioned her ever again. And yeah, and I don't think this lady ever remembers the situation anyway. So whoever is that lady that goes to that 7-Eleven at around 1 p.m. or around noon to 1 p.m. at that location in Ontario, California, at that 7-Eleven at that time, and you're wearing some beautiful hair, and I'm telling you, it is beautiful because it's like beautiful dreads, and you are wearing revealing clothing. And if you're watching this video, just forgive my dad. My dad is just like very he's always been a judgmental person, but he does it for the good of fun of it. Like, he makes fun of himself all the time. He makes fun of my siblings, my mom, his own family members, his best friends, everything. Like, he just likes to shoot the shit. So don't take anything what he said seriously, I'm saying, because we only have one life and we got to live the best for it, you know, or the full throttle of it, I would say. And so yeah, that's the memory I am going to just talk about, because that was the most randomest thing that I could remember. Because I've had more, like, you know, I was like listening to music more as time passed by, and also because I was just waiting for my own friend to come out of the hospital. So I was like mainly more preoccupied with like listening to music, waiting for her to call me or text me or something like that. And so I have been like remembering like these really weird snippets of moments in my life where it's just really funny or very interesting. And I don't mind sharing with that, because like, I don't know if you guys had similar stories with that. Maybe you've gotten in arguments with other people like that in public, and then somehow your own parents made it worse, or your guardian or something. I don't know. I've had experiences where my friends and we would be at a pizza parlor or something, and then they'll make fun of another customer that's just literally a few feet away from us, and they've looked at us really funny, and I know they wanted to say something, but they couldn't because they didn't want to cause any fights. But they at the time, they couldn't really say anything because we were kids at the time, I guess. But even then, when we were like still adults, 18 and older and stuff, like, they should have just confronted us and told us, and then we would have stopped. But we're just shooting the shit, you know. Like, I don't know, that it's just, I know nowadays there's a lot of more sensitive people and stuff like that, and I mean, who isn't? You know, like, there's a lot of stuff that we can be sensitive for, but I felt like during that time, it was just so different, and maybe feelings did got hurt, yes, and I'm very sorry for that, but like, it was just for the fun of it, and we're just trying to enjoy what we can anyway. And like, if you're out there just want to hurt people's feelings, go ahead and hurt it, you know, whatever. But for me, I'm like, I'd rather just stay in my own little bubbles, just stay home, and then just enjoy what I have and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm gonna end this video now. I am going to see if I can organize the small room a little bit now that I know what the response is from my friend before I started recording this video, and I'm gonna go see what is going on. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what next week is gonna be for a video. It could be probably another playlist story video, probably another shopping haul video, because this past weekend I did went to Costco, I did went to Hobby Lobby, but I haven't like really bought anything to be considered a haul. It's just like 2 items right here, right next to me. And so yeah, maybe I'll do a crafting video. I don't know. Actually probably just show you my progress of like these little yo-yo flowers I've been making. Well, I haven't been making them for a while, but like the ones that I have so far made, and I'll show you like the other baskets or the containers that are full of other fabric strips, so that way y'all can see like how far I have left and stuff like that. So yeah, and I did found the gifts that my mother-in-law gave me from last week's video, but I think I'll show that next week if I do another shopping haul video, or who knows. But yeah, so hopefully next week will be something to show off for crafting, so let's see. So yeah, I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna go clean up, and then I'm gonna go get ready for today, so that way I can finally deliver the car to my friend, to her neighbor, and then see what happens. So yeah, so hopefully you guys have a lovely day and a lovely week, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, bye everyone.